could Sung Jin-Woo go toe-to-toe with the biggest villains in Dragon Ball Z? On one side, you've got solo leveling, where Sung just keeps leveling up non-stop, thanks to that overpowered RPG-style system. Every fight makes him stronger, more stats, more skills, more everything. On the other side, you've got Dragon Ball Z, where the power scaling goes absolutely nuts. I mean, we're talking characters blowing up moons, planets, and later on, entire galaxies, and even universes like it's no big deal. But seriously, who wins? Like for solo leveling, and comment for Dragon Ball. Let's go back to where it all began. Early Dragon Ball Z. Even the weaker guys back then, like Master Roshi, were already throwing out moon-destroying energy beams. That's insane. Then we jump to Raditz, who is already stronger than Goku and Piccolo combined. And after that, Piccolo casually blasts the moon out of existence during training. So yeah, the planetary destruction stuff starts real early. Things only ramp up when Nappa and Vegeta show up. That's where you start seeing moves like the Kaioken and the Gallic Gun, which literally threaten to wipe out the planet. The attacks get faster, stronger, and crazier. Some even reach light speed or beyond.
Hello, monkeys. Monkeys do monkeys. Monkey.
Now, when you compare that with Sung Jin-Woo, he's in a completely different kind of game. Literally, his whole deal is growth without limits. Every mission, every kill, every challenge just makes him stronger. He goes from weakling to world destroyer real fast. Just look at what he did on Jeju Island. He was the only one who could handle threats that had entire cities shaking. But here's the catch. Even though Sung is busted in his own universe, Dragon Ball Z is just on another level when it comes to raw power. We're talking transformations like Super Saiyan or Great Ape that multiply strength like crazy. Sung's system is powerful, but the DBZ crew might just be operating way beyond what that system can handle. Even with his massive shadow army and crazy abilities, he might be outclassed. Sung Jin-Woo is a beast in his world, no question. But against the cosmic level madness of Dragon Ball, he'd be in for one hell of a challenge. At first, Sung could probably handle some of the weaker Dragon Ball villains, like the lower tier guys, without crazy power-ups. But once the real heavy hitters show up with their insane power levels, speed that makes light look slow, and planet-busting moves, things would get overwhelming for him real quick. That said, let's not downplay Sung's wild feats. Remember when he straight up bodied Thomas Andre, the dude who's literally the #1 hunter in the world. Thomas came in all confident, thinking he was the top dog, and then Sung just grabbed him barehanded, made him bleed, and shut that ego down fast. Even after Thomas went all out, he still got wrecked. That moment really showed that Sung isn't just another strong guy. He's the guy, the one who could stand alone and protect entire continents if he had to. Then things get really crazy when the monarchs show up, these cosmic level bosses, basically ruling the whole universe, dead set on wiping him out. Sung almost dies, no joke, but then his dad steps in and boom, plot twist. Thanks to the legacy of Ashbourne, the former Shadow Monarch, Sung gets this black heart that unlocks his full power. From there, he basically ascends. He starts pulling off cosmic level feats, messing with space and dimensions, and basically operating on the same tier as the beings who once erased the universe's literal creator. To be fair, that creator was still stuck playing by the rules of fate, which made him reset the whole timeline. So yeah, even god-level characters have limits in this world. And to me, that just shows that as OP as Sung gets, he's still playing inside the boundaries of his universe's rules. But once he becomes a monarch, things definitely open up for him. He gets all sorts of perks, like being able to hop between realms and use portals to travel across different dimensions. It's a huge upgrade, no doubt. Sung literally sends his soul into the astral plane and treats his physical body like a throwaway shell, just a container for the real deal. Because his form is so adaptable, he manages to dive into the realm of chaos, where he straight up fights a 27-year war with his shadow army. Yeah, 27 years, and all of that pushed his power through the roof, high enough to throw hands with the Monarch of Destruction, the most OP being in the whole series. I still remember how, right after he fully awakened as the Shadow Monarch, Sung just soloed 3 monarchs like it was nothing. One was the Ice Monarch, the other was the Insect Monarch, each one strong enough to wreck a planet by themselves. That kind of flex caught the attention of Antares, the big boss of destruction. Even though Antares was stuck in a human body and not using his full power, he still sent an army of dragons to places like Canada and basically started tearing stuff apart. Even with all that chaos, Sung didn't flinch. The guy stood his ground, tanked insane attacks that could wipe out continents, and kept Antares busy long enough to avoid a killing blow. Thanks to a little help from the cosmic higher-ups, he even forced Antares to back off and return to the realm of chaos. Looking back, it's clear. After that 27-year war, Sung was operating on a level above pretty much everyone, including the previous monarchs. And honestly, the fact that Earth couldn't even handle the spiritual form of Antares just shows how massive Sung's power got. When he taps into that full spirit form, we're definitely talking planetary level threat. Still, he's not completely limitless. He's still locked into the rules of his own universe. universe, and that naturally caps how far his power can go. So yeah, when I step back and look at the big picture, I'd say the Shadow Monarch's power sits comfortably at the planetary destruction level. He's insanely strong and insanely adaptable, but I wouldn't go as far as calling him universal level. What really stuck with me is how just a breath from these kings could level entire countries, or even continents, without even going full power. And when you throw in what Grand Marshal Ray, or Ray Code, depending on the translation, said about Earth being considered a small fry, it really puts things in perspective. Destroying Earth is like a baseline flex for these guys. Even with Earth being crazy dense, it still wouldn't stand a chance if someone like Sung showed up in full spiritual form. And in the solo leveling Ragnarok sequel, things get even wilder. Sung ends up going beyond galaxy level stuff to take on the Iterum, some insane cosmic beings who are basically tied to the absolute being. They start messing with the human realm after the god who was supposed to keep everything in balance disappears. Because of all that, a lot of fans start thinking Sung might actually be strong enough to blow up galaxies, or maybe even full-blown universes. But here's the catch. The solo leveling system itself lays down some hard rules. The monarchs, rulers, and even the strongest characters can't just go breaking the universe's laws. Those ridiculous powers like bending reality or rewriting the cosmos, yeah, those are exclusive to the Iterum. Not even someone like Sung or the Monarch of Destruction can mess with that stuff. What's kind of wild is that even though we always hear about cosmic wars wiping out tons of planets, we never actually see a monarch or even Sung himself blow up more than one planet at a time. That tells me that despite how fast he levels up, Sung's power tends to settle around the planetary destruction zone. Maybe not universal or galaxy busting, but definitely capable of wrecking a big planet, especially when you remember Earth was super buff with a decade of magical energy. And yeah, Sung's reflexes and speed are nuts. He can react to light speed attacks like it's just another Tuesday. But when you stack that up against Dragon Ball characters, that speed advantage starts to fade real quick. When I try to compare Sung's level to the early Saiyans, I think of Raditz Arrival. At that point, Goku's power level is just 416, but when he fires off a Kamehameha, it shoots up to 924. That puts their destructive capacity somewhere between blowing up a moon and maybe a small planet. There's even an official guide that says you'd need around 10,000 in power level to blow up a full-sized planet. So yeah, Raditz and Nappa were still under that line in their base forms, but later on, things get crazy fast. Like when Vegeta drops that Gallic gun at 18,000 power level. It might sound modest compared to later arcs, but that was already enough to destroy Earth, or maybe even something bigger. And then Captain Ginyu steps in during the Namek Saga with a whopping 120,000. That's when the real power creep starts to kick in. Sung's progression in solo leveling is seriously impressive, especially since he can absorb practically unlimited potential through the system. But when you stack it up against the Dragon Ball universe, you realize that, for the most part, his feats are still more on a planetary scale. I mean, in Dragon Ball, the warriors can ramp up to destroy planets, and even go beyond that with their final attacks and energy boosts. Now, even though Sung makes crazy progress, his level of destruction, while huge, usually doesn't go beyond the ability to wipe out a few planets with one hit. After thinking about it, I'd say his power is probably closer to planetary fights than something on a galactic scale, especially since his stats and the magical boosts in his world kind of put a cap on just how far he can go. Take Frieza, for example. The guy can wipe out a planet with just a little flick of his finger. Remember when he destroyed planet Vegeta? That planet was like 10 times bigger than Earth, and he did it with a single finger. That gives you an idea of just how strong the top Dragon Ball guys can get. So to sum it up, while Sung's growth is awesome, his feats usually stay at the planetary level, whereas Dragon Ball characters can reach all the way to universe-shattering levels. Then you've got Frieza, who can fire off his death ball at a power level of 530,000, which is nearly 30 times stronger than Vegeta's Gallic gun. That's a massive jump in power. Frieza's 4 transformations really pushed him past planetary level destruction. By the Namek Saga, he was getting close to having star level power. Now, considering that Captain Ginyu has a power level of around 120,000 and Vegeta was already pushing the limits with his 18,000 early on, I'd say Sung's power is more in line with Vegeta's during the Saiyan Saga, not quite reaching the insane levels of destruction we see in the later Dragon Ball arcs. More than Ginyu, I actually remember that King Vegeta, even though he was weaker than his son, could destroy tons of planets without breaking a sweat. That doesn't mean Sung Jin-Woo is weak, though far from it. The fact that we haven't seen him destroy planets yet makes me think his power is more like something on the level of a Gallic gun from the Saiyan Saga, instead of being on some galactic or universal scale. After all, even though characters like Frieza are said to be able to destroy the universe, even the enemies Sung faces in Ragnarok don't mess with the fundamental laws of their universe. So, if we're looking at it from that angle, putting Sung on a galactic or universal level would actually put him at a disadvantage compared to those characters, no matter how you interpret it. In my opinion, based on everything we've talked about, Sung Jin-Woo could totally handle the Saiyan invasion and defend Earth. His hardest fight would probably be against Prince Vegeta, since the power scaling in Dragon Ball really kicks off from the Namek Saga. The Ginyu Force would also be tough for him. Sung's got special abilities, but Dragon Ball characters have theirs too, and we're not trying to do a one-on-one matchup here. When it comes to power and speed, that's probably probably where he'd max out in Dragon Ball. Make sure to drop a like, it really helps out. Hit that subscribe button. That's all. Thanks for all the support. See you guys next time.